Ah, there you are. You know what? The weather here has heated up so much this week. We have crossed into the triple digits, which means that we need to start talking seriously about watering our gardens. And I am going to be reviewing 3 Vego Garden products today, actually, maybe even a few more. But I'm also going to be doing a giveaway because you know what? You deserve it. And not just any Vego Garden product, my very favorite life-changing product right here, this retractable hose. I'll tell you why it's life-changing. But first, I want to show you the irrigation that I set up yesterday, which has been, oh my gosh, such a godsend. So every year my garden gets a little bit larger, more elevated planters, more raised beds, more fruit trees, more vegetables, more growing space. And you know what? That's the easy part. The hard part is making sure that the workload doesn't grow along with it. Because every garden bed could add just a little bit more of everything, right? More maintenance, more watering, more things to remember. Hey folks, if we haven't met before, my name is Tara. I garden in the Bay Area, and as a Vego Garden affiliate, I get to experience a lot of their products when they first come out in the market and do product reviews. But I also like to show you how these products have developed over time, not just at the time they come out. So let me spin you around and show you this little Vego Garden corner. I've got several products here so you can see for yourself how they are doing. And I also want to show you the brand new irrigation system that I just installed yesterday that I'm terribly excited about. So let me spin you around. So first off, these 2 elevated planters are what I call my kitchen garden planters because they are sitting right outside my sunroom attached to my house. And I absolutely love these planters. I actually got this one. This has been through an entire season and I've grown all kinds of things in it. I've grown tomatoes, huge tomatoes, cucumbers, beans, you name it. I've grown all kinds of good stuff in this. And this is only 4 feet by 2 feet wide, and it actually comes with wheels. So I've been able to do all kinds of things. My husband's always complaining that it's too close to the house. So he comes in, he moves it forward to the place that he wants it, which is great. And then sometimes I want to turn it around because the plants at the back are not getting enough sun. I'm able to do that. It's pretty game-changing to have wheels that are so solid. I actually have another similar planter over here, which is 5 years old or so. It also has wheels. This is a cedarcraft planter. I've done some reviews on this. But the wheels, I mean, it's just night and day, right? I don't even dare to move this planter. I've had the self-watering bottom fall off on it. It's a great planter. It has done a lot for me, but I definitely cannot move it. This one I can move so easily. So what did I do? I decided to take it up a notch and I got this huge planter. This one is 10 feet wide by 2.5 feet deep. And guess what? Also movable. Of course, it's got 3 sets of wheels because it is pretty heavy, but I can move this thing as well. So I've had this planter for roughly 2 months or so, because when I planted these up a couple of months ago, the plants were just teeny tiny little things, and now look at them. They have grown past my house. I've actually got some really solid flex grow tomato cages as well. This is also a new product from Vego Garden. And the nice thing about these flex grow tomato cages, number one, of course, they are solid and then you can stack them. So I've got this Amish paste tomato. When I planted it, it was literally 6 inches tall. And now it is, I don't know, 5 feet tall. It has gone past my house. And it's producing tomatoes as well, which is nice. It has finally started producing tomatoes. We've had a really cool season so far, so I'm actually excited that the warm weather is kicking in. But you can see how well everything is growing in this. My goodness, my zucchini, my Danja zucchini is just producing and producing, and everything's growing well. I've even got peanuts in here. So I'm going to have a little bit of a challenge with sun because this thing, there's a lot of plants. I've maxed this out and there's a lot of shade that's being cast. Even this marigold plant has grown so huge. It's supposed to be a little dwarf plant and it's casting shade. So I'm going to have to figure out how I can adjust the position of this planter so that all the plants get sun. I'll have to trim some of these large leaves off, but thank goodness it's movable because that gives me options. And then right next to this planter is one of my absolute favorite newest acquisitions earlier this year, this seed starting station. Let me bring you a little bit closer. So I really love that this has all of this shelving to store all my seed starting supplies and my soil. And it has got some cabinets. These are optional, by the way. And I can put all kinds of good stuff in here. Fertilizer. And I have a sink. Yes, I have a sink. I can remove this. And I've got a beautiful stainless steel sink. And I love how it closes. Look at that. Just completely makes a nice smooth surface if I need more surface area to do my seed starting. It's all right here in one place, and it has made seed starting for me just such a pleasure. And I also have little spaces to hang my tools, and my husband got me this. I love this quote: "To plant a garden is to believe in tomorrow." It is a quote by Audrey Hepburn, I believe, and yeah, it really resonates with me. It's all about hope. That's what the garden is. Let me show you my self-watering planters. Yeah, so these self-watering planters, again, are a gift in the California hot, dry summers, because these plants, I have to water them, like I said, sometimes even twice a day. And if I don't have irrigation, it's a royal pain. But this planter over here, it's got a 20-gallon tank, and it's got a nice little indicator which tells me right now I've got quite a bit of water in it, but as the water depletes, this thing will drop, and then I know it's time to refill it. But I have grown huge plants that have grown again past my roof over here. I've got a pepper, this Peruvian pepper. You can actually see it from last year. It has overwintered because it was just so happy over here. And I'm growing some tiny Tim tomatoes, beautiful creeping verbena. And yeah, this is one of my favorite planters. And then this one over here, this is, I believe it's called a rolling tomato planter. And again, it is self-watering. And I'm growing a tamarillo tree. Now, this is a tropical plant, needs access to water when it needs water. So having self-watering is hugely helpful for it. It is obviously very happy. And then I'm growing something very special over here, moringa, a superfood that is, again, a tropical plant that is finally starting to take off now that the weather has warmed up. Again, needs plenty of water, and so self-watering is the way to go for your tropical plants that you really, really care about. All right, back to these planters. As you can see, the plants have grown really large, and I need to come out like literally twice a day to water this because I've really packed them in. I wanted to really maximize the use of this space and plant an entire kitchen garden. Like I said, I've got all the things that I need on my day-to-day cooking basis, but that also means that they will drink up the water. And this is not self-watering, so I've got to have irrigation, which I will probably run for a minute in the morning, minute in the afternoon. I'll have to kind of adjust it. But yeah, the irrigation system that I've set up for this is, it's definitely different than any of the other ones that I have used, which are similar style. I was watching a video, Robert, the CEO of Vego Garden, and he was talking about why he started the company in the first place. And he said that, he's been buying products, raised garden beds, galvanized and all of that. And the quality was, he was like, we can do better than this. So every product of theirs, even if there is an equivalent product in the market that you can get for probably much cheaper, the Vego Garden quality is just at another level. It's in a class by itself, and they are super innovative about their products. And the name Vego comes from vegetable and Lego combined. So the idea is that you should be able to mix and match and combine a lot of Vego Garden products, especially when they come in a series. So their irrigation system, for example, it works with these elevated beds. It also works with their regular raised beds, and they've got little things in them to make them work for both kinds of beds. And I'll show you that in just a moment. Let me spin you around. Enough talking. All right, I'm right here behind my bed because that is where the irrigation is most accessible from. So this is kind of what it looks like. It's got all these little heads, and I've got actually parts to show you. So this is the little nozzle head, and you can bend it in any direction, and you can also change the flow, and I'll show it to you in just a moment, but you can make it either a stream or an arc or whatever, and then it connects on to this, and you got to push it in real hard. You don't push it in real hard, it's going to squirt all over you, and then these two connect to the horizontal distribution tube, which is right over here. And then the interesting thing about it, I didn't bring the part, but it's right here, is you can actually turn this on and off. So if you do not want to have some of your sprinkler nozzles working, you just turn it off. Now, this is something I've not seen in any other similar product in the market. Plus, the quality, you guys, like I said before, it is solid quality, and I can tell because I've got the others as well. So let me show you actually how it works. I'm going to show you actually something cool that I did, because, you know, these pipes, the ones that touch the floor turn into rat highways for me. I've got rats that kind of walk around over here, and they've been using it as a highway whenever I installed irrigation for this bed. So I want to show you a little trick that I did, and I want your advice also as to how to prevent them if this doesn't work. What suggestions do you have? Let me show you. First off, this is where it all starts. I've got a timer that I can set for whatever frequency I want, for however many times I want during the week, and it is connected to this slightly thicker irrigation tube, and it goes all the way. Oh, my husband's pool vacuums. I think he's a collector of pool vacuums. But anyway, it goes all the way over here, and it ends up over here. And then I've got this little T connector that I use to connect it up to this. And yep, you guessed it, this baffle that I've built out of stiff aluminum material that I had is supposed to prevent rats. So if they try to climb up this, they will come to this and then they'll kind of slide off. At least that's what I am hoping. But you know, rats, they are very conniving. So I do not know whether they're going to figure out how to get past this, maybe come over here. Yeah, this is kind of slippery. I don't know. Tell me if this is going to work, you guys, because I have rats that have been eating my zucchinis in this bed, and I'm not happy about that. Anyway, so it comes up over here, and then you can actually turn off the entire irrigation with this on-off little tap thing. And then it's got this stiff tube that you can bend into your horizontal tubing. And now for the horizontal tubing, you take it along and you start installing your nozzles. And by the way, yeah, definitely push these in really hard. I didn't do it the first time I set it up, and I came over here and I got completely wet. Anyway, so I've got several. Now, they've got some configurations in the book that they show you. You know, a C configuration is what I have chosen. So I've got several of these set up. And then there's another, different than this nozzle. There's a little kind of sprinkler head. Let me show you that. See right here, this little spray head. Now that also can be adjusted. So between that and the nozzles, you can get complete coverage for this very large bed. And then you can daisy chain them. So I have got this connected via this T into this bed as well. And you can see I've got little squirty things going on here too. Yeah, this is just, I'm so thrilled to finally get irrigation in these beds. A lot of my stuff had started to dry out. Plants love consistency of moisture, and if you don't do that, they just won't perform well for you. So yeah, get irrigation if you can, especially if you live in a hot, dry climate. So one thing I forgot to mention is these sit on these little things, these clamp things that you connect. Actually, you screw it into, you can see this, you screw it into your raised beds. But this particular elevated bed does not have screws in the right places for irrigation. So what they have done is they've given me this clamp set. So basically what that is, it's these little clips that you can clip onto the side of the bed, and then you can screw this onto it so you don't have to drill any holes in your elevated beds. And you can also use this with your regular beds if you want the irrigation to be in a different place than the pre-drilled holes that come with the screws. All right, let's talk about the retractable hose. Now, this product has not been just game-changing for me. It has literally been life-changing. But a little bit about the retractable hose. This was the very first Vego Garden product that I got when I became an affiliate almost 2 years ago. And oh my goodness, that was when I was completely hooked. Because this thing, I used to have hoses lying all over my garden. I've got a fairly large garden, fairly spread out garden, and rolling up the hoses after watering, especially those days, a couple of years ago, I did not have as much irrigation set up in my garden, so I had to do a lot of watering by hand, and I had to use hoses that were connected up to different parts of my garden to do my watering. And I just didn't have time as working full time. It was just really hard for me to roll it up each time. It was such a pain. And what happened was I ended up very often just kind of leaving it in messy heaps everywhere. And it started to become a real hazard because my older in-laws moved in with me, and became a big risk. I would start to freak out when I forgot because I would think that they would trip over it. It was a hazard, not just to them, to me as well, to other people that walk around my garden. And so having this, the convenience of being able to retract this and easily put it away, not just made the garden look better, but it was essential for the safety of my family members and people who visited. So there's a few ways actually that I use this hose, and I want to talk about the couple of different types of hoses that you can get, retractable hoses that you can get, because there is a difference. And when I got my first hose, I did not quite understand the difference. Maybe I just didn't take the trouble to, or I didn't realize how important the difference was. So, long story short, there are two main types of retractable hoses that Vego Garden sells. One is just your regular, and then one is high flow. What I'm holding right now is a high flow, but the original one that I got was different. Let me show you actually that one. It's kind of cute. I wanted to show you this because not only is it in the shade, it also has this really cute cover. I've got really hard water. I use well water, and over the course of time, little white spots and all that developed. This is actually the sea green color. That's the original color. You can't quite see it, but I got this cover for it. Isn't it adorable? It's got these little side pouches as well where you can store things. What I put in it is this. This is actually a fast flow, like a pressure hose that you can attach, and you can use this almost like a pressure washer. It's not quite there, but it's a very strong and forceful flow. So we use this to clean our camper, to clean tables, things like that, glass tables that we've got in the backyard. And the other nice thing about it, it comes with these quick connects. So these actually release easily, so you can replace the hose head. Whoops, that was a little too quick. But yeah, you just pull it down and then you put this in. It's got some water in it. They advise that you actually drain the water. I don't always do that, but yeah. So, and then you've got another hose that you've put on, another hose head. Oh gosh, this is embarrassing me. But yeah, there's a lock and an unlock position over here. And, okay, there we go. All right, now I got it. Okay, so you see that lock? So you got to turn in that direction to lock, and then when you unlock it, you turn in this direction. Drain the hose before you do videos, Tara. Gotta go wipe my glasses. All right, I'm back. So this hose was the first one that I got, like I said, and I looked for the longest hose that they sold, and this was 130 feet. Now, I've got, like I said, a fairly large garden, and I figured 130 feet, I can go a lot of places with this. So I got it, and initially I loved it, and then I started to notice that the pressure of the water and the volume of the water coming out of the hose was not really sufficient for me, because I have a well, and my well does not put out as much pressure as your city water. And so what ended up happening is I wanted to use some of the other Vego Garden products, and I'll show it to you in just a moment, and it just was not strong enough for that. So when I decided to do this video and also the giveaway, I decided to go with the high flow. Now, the disadvantage of the high flow is that it doesn't come in as long as this. So the one that I've got is 100 feet, but honestly, 100 feet, you guys, It's quite enough for my needs. And this 130-foot one is now attached to city water. The water pressure is way sufficient. I can go anywhere with it. Works really, really well. But let me show you the specific use case that I needed that high pressure water. Because frankly, you know, even with a little bit less pressure, it was okay. I could water my plants. I just couldn't do this. Let me show you. First, let me show you how far this hose can go. That's a full-size basketball court. I still got a few feet over here. So I can actually maybe take it to my front garden outside the gate, which I've never been able to do before. So yeah, 100 feet is really a lot of feet. All right, let me show you how the retraction works. But first off, I've got to tell you two really important things about the retraction. And they actually have it in a big yellow warning over here. They say to prevent damage or injury, do not let the hose retract on its own. Guide the hose securely back to the reel after use. And they are not kidding you guys. This is a really powerful retraction. And if it is uncontrolled and you're standing on the hose or it's twisted around your feet or something like it can yank you off your feet. Literally. So be very careful. Number one, bring the hose head back over here, because if you have it dragging along the ground and you've got concrete, whatever, you're going to damage this beautiful hose head. 9-nozzle hose head, by the way, different patterns. So lovely. But let me show you, when you're retracting it as well, use something, a pair of gloves. I've just got a rag over here because this thing goes fast and you want to try and control it. If you just kind of let it go, it's going to zip through and it's going to graze your hand. So I'm going to do it slowly, but you just give it a tug. You see that? You see how it yanked me forward a little bit? It is strong, you guys. I got to make sure I'm not stepping on it or that my legs are nowhere around it. There we go. See how fast it's going? Now I can slow it down if I want to. Kind of just letting it go. Hold this up. There we go. So just be a little bit careful about the retraction. All right, I am here at my squirrel-proof enclosure. No squirrels and no rats allowed in this enclosure. And this is where I want to show you where I have been growing. I've got a lot of seedlings that I've started. I've got a lot of plants that are growing. And I do have drip irrigation set up for it. But sometimes drip irrigation is just not enough, particularly when I'm starting seeds and I've got them kind of all over the place. I've either got to come and hand water it or I can do this. Let me show you. So over here I've got like 6 raised beds. They are all 12 feet by 4 feet and they're growing pretty much my entire vegetable garden other than my kitchen garden. And over here you can see I've got seedlings, okra and beans and things that I have started. And I am going to be using this oscillating sprinkler. So this oscillating sprinkler is also a Vego Garden product and it has all these little teeny nozzles and you can turn the ones on the outer ends off or on with these little buttons, and then you can also determine the angle at which the sprinkler will spray. So I have already adjusted it so that it reaches all the 4 corners of my garden, and I've got a quick connect end over here that I can use my hose to quick connect to. So let's do that and let's turn it on. And I'll show you how it works. Let's make some rain. All right, so all you need to do with this quick connect is you will get wet. When you do irrigation, you guys, you're bound to get wet, okay? Just get used to it. And then make sure you hear that little click. That means it has locked. I like to position it in the middle over here. And it's on this milk crate. It's going to pretty much cover my entire garden. I've got it kind of adjusted, but let's go outside. I'm going to use my Google Assistant to turn it on, and I do not want to get wet. So I will first turn this on, and then I'm going to turn the hose on. Yeah, so the pressure of the 130-foot hose, narrow gauge, was just not sufficient to run this and send the water spraying all the way up high. So this high flow really made a big difference. Let's turn it on. Turn on North Garden. You hear that? It's happening. Let me show you. it waves all the way from here, and then it goes up, and then it goes on the other side, and it waters the entire garden. It's gonna squirt me. I gotta back off. My camera's gonna get wet. Yeah, I haven't got it perfect. I still gotta adjust it a little bit, so, but I kind of know where it goes. You see that? You see how beautiful that is? And this is like rain for my plants. You can see how they're thriving. Look at my corn over there. Gotta get out of the way again. I love this thing. Oh my gosh. For me over here in the Bay Area, watering is just like, it makes the difference between a great garden and a nah kind of garden. Yeah, they say water, soil, sunlight. Well, I've got great soil, I've got wonderful sunlight. I just had not figured out the water until I figured out all these irrigation solutions. All right, let's talk about the giveaway, you guys. All right, I'm standing in front of another lovely Vego Garden. This is their modern raised bed, and everything over here is growing beautifully. It has got an intermediate level. Let me show you. Well, you can't really see it, but you can see the height of the planter. It's got a nice, sleek, smooth look, and it has got an intermediate level. So about 18 inches, I can't quite remember. Had this for about a year, and everything grows phenomenally well in this. I've actually got some leftover irrigation from my other setup over here. I'm going to come and bring it and put it over here because the irrigation that I'm using for this is that other brand, no-name brand, and oh my gosh, it's really, really bad. So yeah, spend your money wisely, you guys. Irrigation is something that you should not compromise on. I know I won't for my garden, at least not in future. All right, so the giveaway. So the giveaway is in honor of Father's Day. So first off, happy Father's Day to all the wonderful dads in your life. The giveaway is going to be running from June 14th all the way through the 21st, and it's going to be that retractable hose. And by the way, there is also an incredible sale on Vego Garden products going on right now in honor of Father's Day. So check it out. I've got an affiliate link in the description and all kinds of really awesome discount codes. So do not buy without checking out my discount codes first, because I think they are really awesome and the deals are really great. So definitely check out Vego Garden's amazing products. But rules of the giveaway. So first off, like this video and follow my channel, Green Love, and also follow Vego Garden. I will put a link to their channel name on the screen. And then I want you to comment on the video. So after liking it, go ahead and comment about what your biggest garden watering challenge is. Simple. And I will also post this on Instagram. So if you are on Instagram, follow me over there, greenlove121. That is my tag. Unfortunately, I couldn't get the greenlove1 thing. Oh well, greenlove121 on Instagram. And I post there very regularly, you guys, almost daily. So if you like to see my garden content or just hear me chit-chatting and communicate with me directly via DMs, Instagram is the place to do that. YouTube, unfortunately, doesn't let you communicate directly with me. So go ahead and check out my Instagram as well and get a double chance to enter into the giveaway. So if you're interested in checking out all the Vego Garden products that I've done reviews on, I've got a whole playlist on that. I will put a link to it somewhere here. And I've also got a deeper dive on the retractable hose that I will put maybe somewhere over here. So go ahead and check out that video next. Have a wonderful gardening season, guys. And until next time, live green and love your greens.